as an artist, it is a deposit of his art that he's distributing through you. So you're getting to express God through whatever that vehicle is, whether it's singing, writing, performing. You are using this craft that he's given us to display him.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lydia Nicole, your Common Sense Mamita. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Common Sense Mamita. And don't forget to hit the little bell so you can get all the notifications. Full disclosure, Ivory's been my prayer partner for the last 15, almost 16 years. She is a singer, author, minister. Please help me welcome Ivory Stone. When did you get into music?
I ended up coming to California. I actually met my former husband during that time, and we got connected with Motown. Written some songs, which they loved, and we got signed to Motown. And working in the studio, I was able to do a lot of demos, and by that I mean the Joe Bett publishing company would have our writers who would have songs that they wanted to demonstrate to an artist. So they would have myself and other people to come in to sing the song, the melody of the song, to stylize it, so that the artist Diana Ross did a lot for her. They would know just how the writer wanted the song to go. So one thing led to another, and then one day I got a phone call to do some backup for Smokey Robinson. They were going on a tour, and they needed somebody to fill in for 2 or 3 weeks. And so 27 years later, there we were.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the big break.
When during that time did you start having an unction to get closer to God?
It began in the midway stream of my venture with Smokey and the fun things of traveling on the road, and really getting to minister to people. And there were so many times, Lydia, that I'm looking at Smokey signing autographs and taking pictures, and I would have a prayer line, people coming for me to pray. It was just in earnest that I did, and overwhelmed by that trust that God would give me this opportunity to pray for somebody, and in particular in that, in a venue such as that.
And during that time, you started a ministry.
Yes, I did. Cornerstone Works.
And what made you decide you wanted to start a ministry? You're a singer, you're out on the road, you're doing all these things.
Well, on those good days and those not so good days, one of the not so good seasons, I got into a drug addiction. I came from an abusive marriage, and I think partly to medicate my pain and my insecurity and all the things I was going through, I managed to escape that by the grace of God. He gave me a miraculous healing from that addiction and walked me through the pain of that abusive marriage. And once again, people coming to me, women coming to me, asking me for advice, or if they could talk to me, or what could I tell them, or pray with them about, to help them go through the same issues. It happens so frequently. I had to put a fleece before God to say,
What's a fleece?
That's a test. I'm going to test God to say, okay, if you really want me to do this, I need you to give me a sign.
Okay.
So he did it in such an amazing way. It was an evening that I prayed, and God, I keep running into these people. I'm on a plane, I'm at the market, I'm minding my own business, and somebody's saying, "Can you help me?" So the very next day, I get a call from one of the ladies who'd been coming to a Bible study with me, asked me if I would go to the hospital with her to see her aunt, who had been beat up by her husband and thrown out of a car on the freeway. I said, well, okay, God, that's it. I guess that would be a
That's
clue.
a sign.
That's a sign. So it was crazy.
That's a pretty intense sign.
It was huge. I ended up talking with her, just walking her through the time in the hospital and afterwards for at least probably 3 or 4 weeks. And we became fast friends. And I realized that, okay, I need to take this to the next level. It just came together so succinctly. I mean, it was just amazing how fast and how clear, again, a sign that God wanted it to happen. The name clearance, meeting the right attorneys and the people who were on the board who came together, who were so excited for me to do this. And so it was like, all right, my answer is yes. I will serve this people. I will serve you in this way. So that was 25 years ago.
Wow.
Many churches preach the message of Jesus, but not the message Jesus preached, so that we didn't know we could have relationship. We didn't know how significant and important that we are to him. We didn't know that his love for us is never going to diminish or fail. It's unconditional. He knew before we knew when we were going to mess up. And so he's already allowed for that. So we're still under his canopy. We're still in his love. We're still, his beloved, despite our flaws. And I think something that's important to note too, being an artist, sometimes we separate that from being a believer. But as an artist, it is a deposit of his art that he's distributing through you. So you're getting to express God through whatever that vehicle is, whether it's singing, writing, performing. You are using this craft that he's given us to display him. And it's all together. It's all his anyway.
Right.
But if we can incorporate him in the things that we do, the things we do are going to be better than if we go it alone.
Yes.
And that it's understanding that, and I think we've enhanced that information, or that pearl of wisdom in the things that we've done over the years as we've walked it out, walking through the questions, walking through the fears, the scaries, and the uglies, and all the things that face you as just a human being. As an artist, it's great to know that you're not by yourself, and God shores you up with somebody, the people that he sends in your life, so that you can relate to what he's deposited in you. You can relate to where they are, and together we're better.
One of the things that I learned was I was mistaught, or somehow got it in my head that I could not be an artist and a Christian. That I would have people tell me, that's the devil's work and you shouldn't be doing that. And so for quite a few years, I would have not a struggle, but I would actually have a fight with God. Look here, this is how it is. You can be in my life in this area, but you can't be in my life in this area because it ain't working. I heard bad information in church, and people would pray for you wrongly, and in my spirit I would go, this is not right, but intellectually I was taking that information in, and it was really oppressing me. I wanted to walk with God, but I also wanted to be an artist. Tim Storey was the first one that started depositing into me in a way that said, God created you just like this. He made you an artist for a time such as this. Understanding that he's the creator and we're little creators.
Right.
If we can plug into God like an electrical cord plugs into the wall, then we are getting that current.
Absolutely.
There's nothing we have to do, that he is downloading in us every day, that it is to our advantage.
Right.
To seek after him, because that only sharpens us, as opposed to us having a gift or a craft,
right? And
then we think that that's the end all be all. But it really is not about the craft. It's not about the gift. It is about the creator,
the giver of
who,
the gift.
Yes, it's not that I wasn't pursuing God all that time, but until Tim Storey came in my life, I didn't really have an understanding. I would read the Bible, and I had the ability to pray for people, and I did. I did everything I knew how to do, but I was not giving that artist side of myself to God. And I remember having a conversation with God saying, okay, we're going to do a new thing. I'm going to let you in all the rooms. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up, Lord. I'm going to let you in all the rooms. You know, I only let you go to the bathroom and stay in the living room, but I'm going to let you in all the rooms. And my ignorance, but my willingness to open up really made a difference.
Absolutely. And I think when you're drawn into a relationship with God, that's when you begin to know the whole truth. We're not going to get the truth from other people who don't recognize who you are, what you have, and they want to compartmentalize what you do as though God is not a part of your creativity. We have a creator who makes people creative. All of the movies and cars that are made, planes, buildings, architecture, all of these things are by design. That God has deposited this phenomenal creativity in people as his expressions in the earth. Just attempting to go to church and pray and be a part of Hallelujah chorus, and then you're shoveled off, or put aside like something's wrong with you. I totally understand where you came from, because it was the same issue. And I had the hardest time with Christians. Well, I sing backup for these artists and for Motown and all of these great things, I thought, but they looked at me with derision because, no, you can't do this. Well, Smokey Robinson is okay, but you're not. I'm like, well, what? I mean, there's got to be a backup singer for... So if I'm a backup singer, I'm really a bad person. So I had to learn who I could even talk to about the dilemma. And when Tim Storey came along, it was such a validation that we are okay. There has to be somebody in the as a secretary. There has to be somebody who's a grip on a set. There has to be somebody who's doing all these side jobs to make a production happen. And if they happen to be a Christian, how much better is that going to be? But we had such, bad teaching that made you feel, weary of even do I pursue God? Because maybe, is it either or?
I don't think that at that time, churches really knew how to deal with artists.
Truly.
And even though today there are so many mega churches in Los Angeles that many artists go to, I don't think anybody was teaching the way Tim Storey did.
No one.
Tim Storey is a minister. He was an evangelist, and now he's got his own church. He's a pastor. But Tim had a heart for Hollywood.
Absolutely.
And came in and started doing Bible studies for artists. You were created to do this, so go do and be with God.
Exactly. And you could walk in integrity in whatever role or position that you were in. It was the fact that he acknowledged you as an artist, as a this is a real person. This is a real person in this position who wants to love on God, be integritous, and do well. And I can do better if I incorporate those things in the name of the Lord and watch him be on display through my craft, through my conversations, through how I live my life. It was one of those, for such a time as this,
Yes.
that he came on the scene and was a rescuer
Yes.
for so many of us who had no idea.
He was
my
oxygen
goodness.
for a long time
Oh my
for
goodness.
me.
For me too.
Yeah.
Yes, I headed up the intercessors group, the prayer group for his ministry for a few years, and it was just that was another validation of what God was calling me to do. But it was God pulling me closer to responsibility spiritually
To prepare you to
to
be
prepare.
a pastor. Yes.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
As an intercessor, as a prayer warrior, as a minister, if someone is watching right now and would like to pray, but they've never done it, don't know how to do it, how would you direct them?
The great part is God knows your heart. He knows you more than you know yourself. And he doesn't want you to be afraid to approach him. You can say a simple prayer, God, help me today. Help me to know you. Help me to walk in the path that you've made for my life. Be in my heart, be in my life, and I thank you for it. It's so simple. We've made a religion out of a pursuit of God that has nothing to do with him. It's about what you can do and what you can't do and how you got to sit and what you got to do and who you can't talk to. And it's none of those things. It's a heart-to-heart, one-on-one conversation that he wants to have with you. And he's not scary. I mean, he can be scary because he's the original Godfather, but he won't hurt you. He will love on you and make your life better than you could ever imagine. And one of his great tools is peace. He will give you peace that surpasses all of your understanding. When you're in those places of consternation, when you're in those places of I don't know what to do, and you got the ugly cry going on, it's like, God, help me. And he just will flood that room, flood your heart, give you a peace that'll help you settle and get you back into who you are and cause you to become greater than you've ever been. It's a great exchange. It's powerful.
When I discovered that all prayer was a conversation with God, that
My
really
goodness.
he just wants a conversation, not a laundry list,
Yes.
not
The dialogue.
yes, but a conversation with God. I think that is what churches sometimes fail to
Yes.
tell the
Yes.
congregants.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to talk to God. That's the most important thing, is you talking to him. Even when you're angry, to say, I'm angry right now. In Psalms, where it says, let's talk together. Tell me what's wrong.
Yes.
Tell me what you're angry about.
Yes.
Let's have that dialogue together. I get you. I know who you are. I made you. I love that. I love that we have that open door to God, and that because he loves us as a father, he listens, he loves us, and when we're not doing right, he corrects us. He does not condemn us.
Ever.
Which that again is something that the church can do, is condemnation,
Yes.
put guilt and shame and beat you down, and that is so opposite of who God is.
Totally. The church will tell you, you better love God or you're going to go to hell. Okay, so is there any middle ground? I mean, I'd like to get to know him, but if I don't get to know him like your way, I've lost my eternity, and what's going to happen? It was such a tremendous epiphany in studying the Psalms. The writers, mostly David, King David, he would bare his soul. He would be yelling and screaming and, telling God all of the crazy thoughts he had in his mind, because he wanted his enemies slain, and you could just do this, God, praise your holy name. And I thought, this guy is schizophrenic or something. But he was real. The beauty of God, part of his beauty is the fact that we can be real with him. We don't have to fear him in that capacity. We can tell him what is really on our soul. In so doing, I learned that he was my father. My father was absent in my life. So I didn't even know what the word meant. Father, what is that? That's like okay. So I didn't know.
Right.
But I learned that God, the Father, the loving Father, and he's a good Father, is the one who wants to care for you.
Yes, amen. Thank
Amen.
you. Ooh,
Boy,
yes.
oof.
And you have written 2 books.
Actually, 2, and
And
working on the 3rd.
So this one is called Views from the Back of the Prayer Closet by Ivory Stone. And it's a great book. And so this is her album called Confessions. It's a wonderful jazz spiritual album, and it's just fabulous. And you're working on your third book, which is
Yes.
a devotional by the end of the year.
Yes, exactly.
Praise the
hopefully.
Lord.
Praise
Hallelujah.
God, praise God.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. And how can people find you?
They can go on our website, cornerstoneworks.com. You can send us an email at info@cornerstoneworks.com. And we'd love to send you a book, CD, some study notes. Give us a shout out, and we'd love to respond.